everyone. My name is Monica Martinez, and I am here to share with you a little bit about doing some creative thinking activities in both a face-to-face, maybe a virtual environment. It could also be combination, hybrid. Perhaps you're doing flipped classroom concept, and now you want some activities to do during class time. So any of those situations apply to this. I'm using Google Slides as a way to introduce some creative thinking ideas for our students. And then they're going to take a slide, each one of them, and create their creative design. And then after that, I'm going to show you how we can leverage the use of the comment feature to have students reflect on each other's work, provide peer feedback, and of course, practice those empathy skills, compassion, practice giving critique and feedback, and also receiving it. So a little bit of all of that mixed in, which is great that these activities are actually going to allow us to help our students practice those particular skills. So what you see on the screen here is the presentation. To get here, you're actually going to use the short link, which you've either gotten from me somewhere, either on Twitter, or you're in a session with me and you have this link. But for those of you who have just gotten to this YouTube video without actually seeing the short link, here it is on your screen. You can pause, jot it down at this moment in the video so that you can actually get this template. But once you actually go to this short link, the bit.ly /GSlides002. It is case sensitive, so make sure you jot it down all lowercase. But once you get there, you're going to get to a screen that looks like this, where it says, would you like to make a copy? And yes, of course, you want to make a copy of this slide deck. So we're going to click on the blue button that says make a copy. And that'll take you to the copy of this particular template, which you're going to be able to then edit. Okay, so once you have your copy, I'm going to show you what's in it, and then I'm going to show you what we would actually do if we were sharing this with our students. Okay, so that's just generating its copy. For some reason, it's just taking a second there, probably because I have too many tabs open, as you can see from my screen. All right, here we go. So you can see the title up here at the top left. It says copy of template. You are more than welcome to rename this something else, whatever it is that you need it to be called. Totally fine. As you can see in the notes down there at the bottom, the licensing for this is Creative Commons licensing. It is the attribution non-commercial, meaning that you can use this, you can repurpose it, you can, tear it apart, break it into different pieces. I do ask that if you are sharing this, let's say if you're a presenter or a trainer, if you're sharing this, please do credit me for having built this and shared this with you. If you are a presenter, sharing this template as things you can do with Google Slides. So appreciate that. Anyway, okay, let's dive in. So what you have in this template are 10 different creative thinking activities that you can do with your students. On this main page, you have on the right-hand side, off the artboard or off the canvas, right over here on the right-hand side, you have some generators that I've linked for you that will help you develop even more than these 10 activities that I've added here. So if you want to continue to do this and you're not really sure, well, what other ideas could I come up with? Here are some generators that create random ideas for doing creative stuff. And I'll show you a couple of them here towards the end. Okay, so once you have it, you can actually start clicking through the slides with the thumbnails over on the left-hand side. And what I'm going to do here is pull down this bottom section just up a little bit so that we can see the instructions over on the left. So these instructions have been placed in your master slide area. And if you don't know where that is, if you go to slide and then you go to edit master, and you're going to see that there are 10 slides here that already have some content dropped in, like this has that little V. Some don't have much in the slide, like they're blank, but they will have over here on the left-hand side that instruction box. But some will have some content on the page itself. And the reason why I want to point that out is so that you know that these instructions on each of these pages are locked down because they're on the master and not necessarily directly on the slide itself. The only thing I've done to put on the slide itself, going back to slide 1, are these links, because I want you to be able to, delete that if you don't want it, move it, put it somewhere else, and definitely click on those links. But the reason why I've locked this down here is because when you actually give this to your students, you don't want them to accidentally delete the instructions and then not realize, oh, wait, what did she say we were supposed to do? So these are locked down in that master slide. And of course, your student is going to actually create the content directly on the slide itself. This here, where it says your name here, title of your drawing, that is obviously editable. You want them to actually complete that. So we've got 10 different prompts here. This first one says, using only circles, create a character that best describes you. The next one there says, complete the following design with any shape, images, etc. And there you have the example. 10 different activities that you can do with your students, all of them meant to really push the envelope on creativity, creative thinking, thinking outside the box. You're also looking at, there are a couple in here like this one that says, how many ways can you use a paperclip? And the idea is to really break through functional fixedness. And for those of you not familiar with functional fixedness, it's the concept and the idea that one thing was created and made for only one purpose. Like a chair is meant for sitting, but we all know that we can use a chair. Let's say we want to reach for something in a cabinet up top somewhere and we can't reach. We pull up a chair, we stand on the chair to be able to reach that one item that's up on a shelf. So a chair can be used for more than just sitting, right? So functional fixedness is this idea that things can only be used for one thing. The idea here with this prompt is to break that. We don't want to limit ourselves to only using things for its maybe original intended purpose, but instead really look at ways in how we can leverage the use of these different items that are accessible to us. So again, 10 different prompts, all very different, but all based on the idea that we're pushing our kids to really think creatively. So you can go through the slide deck and decide which one you want to do. So if I wanted to do slide number 2, for example, and have my students using circles to create characters that best describe them, then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you. So if you're going to use slide 2, because that's the activity you want to do, then I'm going to delete from that copy. I'm just going to delete all the other slides. And you would probably delete slide number 1 as well, because you wouldn't need that. But then once you've deleted all the slides that you don't need, I'm simply going to go to edit, copy. So I'm copying my slide, and then I'm simply going to do a Control V for Victor, Control V for pasting, right? That's the command to paste, or Command V if you're on a Mac. So I'm just going to do paste, 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 paste for as many students as I have in my classroom. So if you have 20 students, then you create 20 copies of that one item. So now it's the same activity times 20 slides. And the reason why we're doing that is because I want my students to all be drawing at the same time in the same slide deck. I want to be able to see all of their drawings all in one. And the reason being is because we want to do this as a collaborative project. While everyone's going to work on their individual drawing, the idea is that all students can then see at the end, you give them 5-10 minutes to do this. And at the end, you tell your students, okay, everyone, so let's go back and take a look at everybody else's creations. And so at that point, everybody's going to go back and take a look at everybody's drawings on each of their slides. And in addition to that, you're going to ask your students to follow up with some feedback. And so let's say here, and I'm just going to drop in a shape just so that we can have something. Let's say that this is, somebody else's drawing, and I now come in as another student saying, oh, let me add a comment to this. So right up here at the top, I've got the little comment icon. You can, of course, go to Insert, and then from the drop-down menu, select Comment if you want to use the menu. But of course, this little guy right here is a little shortcut to be able to do that. So that's kind of nice to just be able to click on that there. So I'm going to click on the comment, and I'm going to say, really love how you used the circle for da 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 da, right? I'm adding my comment. I hit comment, and now I've left a comment on that particular student's design. And so you're going to ask your students to give feedback on, at minimum, let's say 3 other students, and you want to remind your students to make sure that at minimum that everybody's slide has 2 to 3 comments. So for those of you who finished already giving comments, go through the rest of them. If you see any that are missing, please add another comment to those. So they might end up doing 4 or 5 comments, etc. So you want to encourage definitely that everybody is commenting on everyone, sharing the love, nobody's left behind, etc. Now, prior to doing activities like this where students are giving feedback for creative work, I highly recommend that you do cover some basics around how to give feedback to colleagues, how to do critiques, etc. And I recommend be simple, be kind, but be specific as a rule of thumb. And remind your students, of course, that we're not critiquing the person, but we're critiquing the work. And so that is also important. We're not trying to say things about the person, right? So I highly recommend covering some basics around feedback and critiques before you actually get into doing those critiques. And of course, this could be an activity where you are having your students practice that skill. This also ties back into, I said this earlier, it ties back into empathy and compassion. But we also need to be clear about, what works, what doesn't, and we need to be able to give our peers, our fellow other students, some feedback that's going to be useful for their growth. So highly recommend to cover those basics, but otherwise, once you've covered that and you're ready to have your students provide feedback, these are some really great activities in this slide deck that allow your students to, 1, practice creative skills, and 2, practice those critiquing skills as well. So really great way to collaborate and to use those communication skills. Really quick, I'm going to go back just to show you. So again, you have 10 different prompts that I've already provided you, but in the main, in the first slide, you do have some generators that'll give you even way more ideas than the 10 I'm providing. And I just want to do just a quick shout out to these couple of generators that are on that list. The idea generator allows you to combine things with like words and images. And so here in this example, you can see but just by clicking the W, it randomizes the word. So I got toothbrush and I clicked on the image and it gave me a pretzel. And that could be the prompt, is where you're telling your students, okay, you need to create a product that combines the use of a toothbrush and a pretzel in some way. Go. And you give them, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and now they have to create that. You can use the eraser tool to wipe it clean and come up with another word. So here's the word gamble. You click on image, and then there you've got a tool. And so now you have to combine those 2 items together. So that's Idea Generator. I really like this one because it's so random, but it's part of what helps us really stretch our imagination. So definitely take a look at that one. And then the other one that I really like is the Art Prompter. This allows you to generate, I have it set to 1, but you can do 5 or 10. And then from prompt types, you have the option for a simple prompt, an elaborate one, or somewhere in between the 2. And then you click on generate prompt and it just gives you random prompts. So this one says use a lot of violet colors. So that's it. That's the creative exercise. You have kids on a Google slide deck. Every student has a slide for themselves and the prompt is use a lot of violet colors. Go. Give them 5 minutes to be creative. And that's it. So these generators are, they're great. They just randomly create these prompts for you, and you don't have to worry about coming up with them. So I just click the button again, and it says create 2 works on the theme of a calm so deep. So there you go. Totally random. Once again, those generators, there's more than 2. I just shared 2 with you for this video, but if you go to slide number 1, you will see that you've got a few generators off the artboard there on the right-hand side. So definitely take advantage of those. I hope you find good use of this video in learning how to use just Google Slides in a very different way from just presentations, to create an environment for your students to be able to collaborate and, of course, practice all those great social emotional skills.